So this time we're gonna be doing a little discussion. I'm gonna do a little drawing while I talk with y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm including you guys because you're a main part of the story of what I'm trying to do. I've recently put out a video about crafting my own universe, which
Right.
a lot of people have seen. They like what I'm doing. So I want to go a little bit further and to kind of let people know some things have changed a little bit, as far as how we're going about this. So my big thing, especially in regards to the stories, that I'm going to be changing up their origin, So yeah, origin is everything and all, but you can kind of tell certain things are just a little too dark. And the one thing I kept thinking about is they're separated from their family and their family is gone. The mom and dad are gone. They gone. And the thing I'm thinking about is, now why do we have to do that? Which you wouldn't think it's not much of an actual real question until you realize, most origin stories, even for the heroes, are that dark to where for some reason the parents are not there.
That would confuse me because why is that a thing? Why can the parents be there? Why?
Because that is a common trope, especially with heroes like Batman
and anime like Naruto.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
You can't help but see it. My thing is that, well, does it have to be the case? And I would think no. We can do something different, So something I want to propose to you guys is, well, how would this look now? To where they still have to go to this fictional city, and they still have to be separated from their families. So I'm thinking the events of them breaking out of the facility had already happened. They've already been experimented on, and these boys are already forever changed. The thing is, when we open up the story, of course we're going to open up to a significant event. Like, let's say it's the youngest brother's 18th birthday. So he had just turned 18 and we're celebrating that. But also during this time, they're reminiscing on what happened in between, how some of those years have been lost because of what happened to this family, and how technically they're still not safe. They're on the run. And though mom and dad are trying their best to celebrate, this will get interrupted and force these families to still split, leaving the mother and father's fate unknown, but they're promised to stay in touch with the boys, but also sending the brothers off to that fictional city. So at least that's where my mind at is in this regard. So my thing is, what do you guys think of that so far? It's especially when it comes to kind of changing up how this thing usually plays out.
Right. So this is after they escape the facility, right?
Yeah, by the time we meet them, it's kind of like how it was originally. By the time we meet them, they're already adults.
But how do you have an idea how they meet their parents?
So their parents are, instead of the brothers breaking themselves out, it's the parents that get them out of there.
Oh,
so
what's up that long to do it?
Well, I would think of it in the sense of when it comes to,
maybe they didn't know. Well,
I mean, you're talking about they got abducted for research that nobody signed up for. Nobody signed up for that doggone
they
project.
didn't know where they were.
Or maybe, can I throw something out?
Sure.
Maybe it was something that this guy did something safe, and they decided to, you know what? Why not? And until it wasn't until I don't know how long that they realized what happened, the real truth behind it.
So it's disguised as more of a little scheme.
Yeah, a little friendly environment thing, but in reality, that's not the case. And they realized that they gave their children away.
But the thing is, this is also, I think I like where you're going with this, because I also I did want it to be a case where maybe the parents are abducted as well. But it'd be a pretty cool thing if it was just the kids that were affected. It was just the sons. I think that would work just as well. But at the end of the day, it's something that been there, done that. They went through that. But because of how they got them out, they're on the run. So right now, it's opened up to what feels like a home field until it's revealed we can't exactly call this home because this is
You're
like
not safe.
yeah, this is like the 10th place we stopped at.
And you can't like trust anybody.
Right, it's hard to trust anybody, but the only one they can't trust is Theophilus. And this is, I would say, this is where I need to start introducing some of the other characters in this story, because Theophilus is based off of one of the people that we know. And I asked him, and hopefully you can kind of piece together who I'm referring to when I say him.
I get you.
But I asked him what kind of powers he wanted. He said the powers of Superman. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice and all.
But
And you know, I'm gonna put a spin on it, because I did that with you when you asked what kind of powers you want to have, with both of y'all. So the spin in this case is we're doing classic Superman, meaning he ain't got the laser vision and all this other extra powers. We talking golden age level Superman.
continue more. I want to hear more about this.
Yeah. So this character, he's definitely Theophilus. He is meant to be the mentor figure, but a close friend of the family.
Yeah.
To where they are relying on him, like, okay, help protect our kids then, because things are getting out of hand again, and we don't know where else to send them, so we're going to send them to Brixton, which that is the original location, the fictional location we both worked on and agreed on.
Yeah.
So that is something that we're also, it'll be a way to kind of get them out of that area and into a fictional city where we'll describe what happens. But by this time, we're gonna say they escaped around, I'm gonna say 5 years ago. So that would make the youngest brother 13.
Okay, and I think around that point, would they be used to how their new lives are?
The brothers would, but they wouldn't exactly be okay with it. They have enough autonomy to realize this isn't a good life. We can't even stay put in one area. We always end up going and running elsewhere. So there is that feeling of like, okay, this is getting old. Every time we think we find a home, it goes south, and now we gotta run again. And it gets to a point where certain brothers, especially the two younger siblings, Daniel and Jacob, they're kind of like, okay, I'm tired of this. But again, you know, the father has the final say on that and be like, no, go. So they have no choice but to run. My thing with it is that, again, Theophilus is going to help them out. That's why he's a trusted friend. He broke out around the same time the families did. This family in particular did. That's why they say, okay, go to Brixton. So that kind of it keeps the parents separate, but it keeps them alive as well. Or at least keep that mystery of like, are they going to be okay? Are they going to live? Are they going to survive? My ultimate goal is, yeah, eventually the family is going to reunite. Because I want to break away from the tradition of the family's separated, it's broken, it's gone, you know. And it's like, we just got introduced to these people. Why does that have to happen? When it could be a simple, okay, we can still have some tragedy, but does it have to be the immediate family? You know, we can still have stakes, but I actually want this family, I want these men to still have their mom and dad around. And though they cannot do much compared to the brothers, you know, I still want their presence to be there and mean something.
Yeah. Because then there's that whole stereotype of, you know, especially with black men, their parents are not involved. So you're just kind of breaking that stereotype. And I think that's a good message.
Yeah. I definitely just want things to kind of look a little bit better in terms of just, let's get a good depiction of like, we can still have these amazing stories, but everyone is there. Everyone that is essential to these characters is there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. If it's a major event or a major sacrifice that happens, it'll be the new characters that we introduce throughout the story. This is why, you know, I talk about people like Rhea or side characters that they meet once they get to Brixton. And of course, it'll be on their minds of like, well, we gotta check in on mom and dad. If they're coming here, like, you kind of can't help but wonder, like, okay, did the parents survive then? Because we haven't heard from them, and We got people still hunting the brothers down. So it's like, okay, there's still this sense of always running. And the crazy thing is, when they get to Brixton, and this is another part I want to point out, there's this feeling of, even when you think you're safe, you're still going to deal with a struggle. And these are black men, so if it ain't one thing, it's the other.
Yeah.
And we know what the other is.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's bad being a black man. Now, in the current world, imagine you have the ability to affect everything. From telekinesis to affecting the weather to even affecting reality itself, having that kind of potential, and you're showing that, trying to be nice, trying to be kind, and trying to survive, people gonna look at you crazy for real.
Yeah. Even though your heart is in the right place, even though you mean well,
But
people are gonna still see you as
some kind of freak.
right.
Yeah, and
They're gonna treat you that way.
And that's the struggle I want them to kind of go through. I kind of even want them to feel the frustration that comes with that. Where it's like, why? Why are we still having this problem? Why do we still have to deal with this? Thinking, finally safety, and now we got this problem.
Man, they're going through it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I'm like, this is where mom and dad need to come in. Because, like, how do you deal with that? You know, and the one thing I thought about was how we were brought up. That was an immediate thing that I had to think about because, well, when you think about our upbringing, and y'all can attest to this, y'all can say what y'all want about it, but we weren't exposed to some of the harshest things that life has, dealt to other people. We haven't had to deal with that. We were very protected. So I kind of want these brothers to have that same vibe of like, for the longest time, they've been all right until all this stuff shot off like they did. And they're still trying to adjust and trying to adapt. And even then, even after they've escaped and got these abilities, now that by the time the story opens, they are trying to learn and master them. But it's still that sense of they're being protected. They're still being protected. So now it's just a matter of the gloves are really off by the beginning of the story. By even the opening of the first chapter, the gloves have come off because they have to leave home. And this time, mom and dad ain't coming with them. So it's like, for the older brother, for Joseph, he's the oldest. He's 26, I believe, by the start of this. So it's like, he's the one that the brothers are going to have to look to. And it'll turn, what I wanted to do is turn this into going from mom and dad said follow him to follow you. You're the oldest. We look to you. As much as we don't want to admit that, mom and dad are right, we still look to you. You're the next in line. So these are the things I want to explore with them. And I think that's better than them coming from a tragic upbringing. Yes, their circumstances are still tragic, but I want something more. I want something that breaks a little bit of the trend, but still have enough stakes to where it's like, I'm still invested, And for once, it's the question of, will this family finally find safety? Will it finally find comfort? So what do you guys think of just all of this?
Yeah. I think the storyline makes all the sense in the world. And I think, you emphasizing the struggles that us black men face. And not only that, but, it being struggles involved, and that's the thing, though. You have to have some struggle involved. It can't just be all sunshine and rainbows. You have to have some adversity that they'll overcome, because that's what's going to make the story more relatable.
As for me, you're really tackling a lot of heavy subjects, man. I'm talking what's what I'm looking for? Well, aside from racism.
Yeah.
You're also dealing with, I want to say, well, I can't really think of the word right now, but you're basically dealing with realism. You're basically dealing with when a character going through something that a person in real life would struggle with.
Yeah.
Yeah.